Hey, it's the Midnight Raven, and today I wanted to do a different kind of video. So, generally, I do things like hauls, podcasts, and that kind of thing. This time, I wanted to do a roundup of everything I'd watched in the last maybe month and a half, possibly in the earlier start of the year. I thought I would run through some of the programs I have watched because currently I have watched so many programs and so many documentaries it would make your head spin. I've watched everything from what we call mainstream to lesser known stuff. Today, I thought I would talk about the movies I have watched, and then I'm going to do a separate video talking about the documentaries I have watched throughout January and February and some of December. So, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I am the Midnight Raven. My type of genre when it comes to watching movies is generally horror, thrillers, psychological thrillers, but there are some wild cards thrown in because sometimes you can't just watch horror all the time. Or can you? That is the question we're going to answer today. So if you're new to the channel, give it a big thumbs up, like and subscribe. And without any further ado, let's get into what I watched in the last couple of months. So back in November, I watched the new Joker movie Filet à Deux, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. So this is on letterboxd.com, where you can rate your movies, leave your reviews, which you can actually look at what I've reviewed all of these movies. Now, the Joker movie, I gave 3 stars. I gave it, in my eyes, a 50-50 rating. Was it good? Yes. Did it have problems? Absolutely. Would I rewatch it? I actually would consider rewatching it, but it wouldn't be one of those films I pick up like every year to watch. It's not like the original Joker, which gripped me and made me want to watch it. This one, as much as I love Phoenix, it was a miss. I didn't like Lady Gaga in it. I didn't like the way it was done. It could have been done better. There are much better musicals out there. Things like Sweeney Todd got the gist of how to do a musical, and I think they tried something and it failed, which is unfortunate. So on the 16th of December, I watched The Platform 2, which was a horror movie. Now, this I gave 3 out of 5. Again, the original, The Platform, was so much better. It was about this platform where you were chosen to go into, and at the top, the people got more food, and as it went down, you get less. And in this movie, there was a hierarchy, a bunch of people who were in charge of how the food was distributed. It was a big mess, really. I didn't really like this one. If you haven't seen the original, I'd go and see the original and watch it. It is subtitled, um, but I found it a really good watch. I did only give this one a 3 out of 5. I haven't watched the original for a while, but it is one I would consider watching again. Okay, on the 23rd of December, I watched Violent Night. This was a new thriller slash slasher Christmas movie. This was a 1.5. I had real high hopes when it came to the trailer. The film itself, for me, it tanked. The the fighting and everything was kind of cool. The storyline, a little weak, gotta admit. The violence, it didn't have as much as I wanted, which is a shame. Would I watch it again? I don't think I would. I have to say, it's one of the duds from last year. Next, 3rd of January, I watched Asylum of Fear. Now, this was on, I actually watched this on YouTube. And I was looking for a horror film, and I was just going through the horrors, and Asylum of Fear came up. And it is the most terrible film I have watched in the history of films. I gave it half a star, and that was generous. There was terrible acting, terrible deaths. It lacked everything. A budget, possibly. It was a B-rated movie. It didn't really have much going for it. Not gonna lie. It's terrible. Don't watch it. Don't even attempt to watch it. I just no. 4th of January, I watched Jeepers Creepers, the original. There are 3 Jeepers Creepers, I believe. This one, 3 out of 5 stars. Justin Long probably held the film together. I don't like him as an actor now, but back then he was a good actor. He did have redeeming qualities when it came to acting. But honestly, again, it was a 50-50 movie. I really wanted to like it, but it was just, some of it were a bit cheesy, a little bit tongue in cheek. Some of the deaths were a bit meh. It was in 2001, so you'll go give them credit. Special effects, stuff like that, wasn't hitting its mark. So 3 out of 5. Next, on the 6th of January, I watched The Trip. Now, this was a really interesting concept. It's about a bunch of guys that go to a house, and throughout the time, they get high, they drink, but then one of them apparently offs themselves. The other 2 find him, but it turns out that he hadn't offed himself. They were having this trip, and it was actually his friend who had then killed them. It was a very bad, messed up trip. I gave it 2 out of 5 purely because it was very drawn out. There wasn't a lot of action, although the concept was good. I think they could have done more. I think it was lacking in something. 11th of January, I watched Saw 2. Why didn't I watch Saw 1 first? Because I've seen it way too many times and know it off by heart. So I watched Saw 1, Saw 2, and then the next day I watched Saw 3. Personally, for me, I do prefer Saw 3, and I gave it 4 stars, and Saw 2 only got 3. Honestly, Saw 2 fell a bit flat for me. Saw 3, again, they weren't the 2 favourite Saw movies that I've ever watched. They're watchable. Tobin Bell really is the draw when it comes to a Saw movie. He's what keeps you watching. You're interested in him. But there are better Saw movies in the franchise as you go along. Next, on the 13th, I watched Circle. So this was 4 out of 5 stars. This was an interesting concept of a room full of people, and every minute or so, somebody had to die. And each person got to choose who died by moving their hands. And then it came to the end, and it was whether you would kill a child or kill a pregnant woman. And I will leave the question up to you guys. It was a really interesting movie, a really interesting concept. 4 out of 5 stars. It's very hard to get 4 out of 5 stars, I must admit. Okay, next we binged watched 50 Shades of Grey. On the 15th, it was Valentine's the day before, so I just watched 50 Shades of Grey and 50 Shades Darker, the first 2 in the 50 Shades of Grey series. I gave the first one 4 stars, thought it was fine. Second one, 3.5. It fell a bit flat. They lost some of the spark, some of the BDSM, some of the Red Room stuff. They could have done a lot more, but obviously you got to have a storyline and a love line and all that stuff. It was okay. You watch it. It was Valentine's the day before. We watched something a bit, you know. Next, on the 16th, we watched a movie called Countdown. This was 3.5 stars. This was a concept of putting an app on your phone that would tell you when you were going to die, and then trying to stop that timer so you wouldn't die and change the timeline so where it wouldn't happen. It was a really interesting concept. 3.5 stars. There was some poor acting, and it did drag on a bit. On the 17th, I watched Legend. This was a portrayal of the Kray twins. One of the best Kray twins movies I've seen. 5 stars. The acting, the premises, the whole film itself, the acting is just so on. I've seen a lot of Kray twins stuff. But this was one of the best. Then on the 18th, I watched 50 Shades Freed, the last in the 50 Shades series. God of 3. I think it's boring. There's not a lot of action. There's not a lot of Red Room stuff. It just falls flat, not gonna lie. On the 20th of January, I watched Sex in the City, the first movie. 4 out of 5 stars. It's not the best movie in the world. It has funny bits, has a bit of tongue in cheek, there's a bit of sex in it. It kind of holds you to like the typical Sex in the City if you watch the TV program and stuff. And then at the end of it, Big and Kerry get married. La-di-da. Then on the 23rd, I watched the second one for Sex and the City. This is when they went to Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi? It's a terrible movie. Two out of 5 stars. Terrible movie. I didn't like the whole Abu Dhabi stuff, talking about niqabs and, you know, the face masks and talking about women out there. I don't think it needed to be put in a movie. I think they were trying to be political and stuff and using Sex and the City movie to do it. I don't think it was right. 2 out of 5 stars. I know. Next, 24th, 2 days ago, I watched Public Enemies. This is Johnny Depp as John Dillinger, the gangster. 5-star movie. This has everything you need. It has suspense, thrill, Johnny Depp looking hot as John Dillinger. It's a good storyline. There's some good acting. It's a beautiful soundtrack to the movie. I think the entire soundtrack just sets the tone. And the song Blackbird, it just touches your heart. It's a beautiful movie. It's shot really well. Cannot fault the movie. And then the last thing I watched was yesterday, and that was Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. I watch this a couple of times a year. You've got to love a musical, and Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter do so well to do this portrayal of a love relationship in a darkened time, and a broken Sweeney. 5 stars. Came out in 2007. I have watched it 2-3 times a year since. I love a good musical, and I cannot believe it came out in 2007 and it is 2025. The movie holds its own. Tim Burton did phenomenal with this movie. The darkness, the kind of eeriness of it. Sacha Baron Cohen in it. Perfect. I can't remember who Judge Turpin was. I can't remember his name, but he played phenomenal. Phenomenal actors, phenomenal musical. Watch it every year. Cannot fault Sweeney Todd. And that was everything I'd watched until the 25th of February. I know February hasn't finished, but I did want to get this movie out. And unfortunately, February only has 29 days. So I wanted to get this filmed and get this out. I have watched a bunch of documentaries recently. I'm going to do a video on them as well. I've watched some Germany documentaries. I've watched the Waco documentary that came out. And I have watched some other ones. So I will share you everything I have watched true crime and documentary wise in a separate video. Let me know what you think. I keep my reviews of my movies that I've been watching on letterboxd.com. Let me know if you've watched any of these movies, what you thought of them. I plan to do this every month so that we can do a recap at the end of the month of everything I have watched. But if you want to like and subscribe and give it a big thumbs up, I will do the documentary video as soon as I can. I am now planning on watching Waco The Aftermath, which I have just finished the Waco series, which was really good. But like and subscribe, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to support the channel with a PayPal, Super Chat, or Super Thanks, these are my movie reviews for February/January/December. And I will see you very soon for another video. Take care and thanks for watching. Love you all. Bye, guys.